Hey guys, if you want to learn how to make this super cute turtle that requires no sewing, just keep on watching. Okay, for materials you're going to be using any yarn. I use the Loops and Threads, just Chanel Home Slim, or it's also known as Sweet Snuggle Light. It's the same thing pretty much. And this is a weight 6, and I like to use a 5mm hook. It makes the stitches nice and tight, no gaps. I used to use, I think it was a 5.5, so that works too. But use your preference. And first we're going to be making the fins. So I already created 3 right here, and now I'll be showing you how to make these. So first you're going to want to do a magic ring of 6 single crochets, or you could do like me, which is a chain 2 method. So that's 1, 2, and I'm going to insert all 6 single crochets into the first stitch. 1. Oh my god, I always mess up when I film because I'm focused on the camera. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you do 6, you're going to slip stitch into the first, and that is your first row. Now I am going to do an increase all around to get a total of 12 single crochets. So that means put 2 stitches in the same one. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, I think I might just move my yarn over here, make it easier for myself. That's 10 and 12. And now I'm going to slip stitch into the first one again. And that is your second row. Now you're going to want to go all around with a pattern of single crochet increase to get a total of 18. So that's just like this. 1, increase, so that's 3, 4, increase, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then just keep going all around until you get 18. Okay, I just did my 18 stitch, so now I'm going to slip stitch and finish off my row. And that is the third row. Now for this one, you're going to be doing 2 single crochets and then an increase. So it'll look like this. 1, 2, and then do your increase. 3, 4, and then another 2. 1, 2, and then your increase. You want to go all the way around until you get 24 stitches. Now that you finish off your last row, you're going to fold it in half. Make sure you tuck the tail in, just makes it a whole lot easier. Chain 1, and you see these 2 like stitches right on top of each other. You're going to put your hook in, and you're going to pull through and slip stitch. The first one's always kind of tight. And you're going to go all the way through and do the next 2, and then the next one. See right here? Just going all the way around. Like this. We're almost there. Depending on your tension, this might be easier or harder to do. And then I like to do the last one right here in the corners, so it has a point. And then just like that, and then you could just cut it and finish off. Someone took my scissors and I can't find them, so I'm currently using my pliers. And you're gonna want to repeat that to get a total of 4 fins, which I already did. And now we're going to make the head. So for the head, I'm gonna be doing the chain 2 method again. And we're starting off just like the fins. We're gonna be doing 6 single crochets. 4, 5, and 6. And we're also going to be doing the same pattern of first we're going to do an increase in every stitch to get 12, and then 1 single crochet and 1 increase to get 18. But let's just focus on the increase all around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. I hate when my yarn does that. Like, I'm just too focused on filming. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then your last increase, 11, 12. And then we're going to slip stitch, of course, the first stitch. And now you're going to do a single crochet and then an increase. That's 1. Increase, and remember you're going to get 18 for this round. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and remember, keep going till you get to the end of the row, which will be 18. Okay, so I have finished my row of 18 single crochets, and now I'm going to do no increases, just 18 single crochets for another 3 rows. So I'll do one with you guys. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and last stitch 18. Let's slip stitch it close, and now you're going to do another 18 for 2 more rows. Okay, so I did my other 2 rows, and now we're going to start slowly decreasing. So you're going to chain 1, and not chain 1, oh my god, single crochet 1 and do a decrease, which means you go through just the front loop, pull through, front loop on the next one, pull through, and then you bring it all the way through. So that's 2, 3, that's 4, 5, and you should get 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the last stitch is a decrease. 12, and slip stitch that thing close. And then here you could start slowly stuffing. So I just have a little bit in here. I don't like to completely overdo it. And as you see, the head is forming. Here's how it's gonna kind of start looking. Now I'm decreasing all around for a total of 6 stitches. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one is 6. And now slip stitch it close. Usually the tension does get kind of tight when you start decreasing. And here's when I would add my safety eyes and put a bit more stuffing. Lately I've been just hot gluing my safety eyes because I found that it's not that secure if I don't. And it's just easier for me, so feel free to add them. I like to do them right here perfectly on the side in between the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5th row. And you know, the size is up to personal preference, but I'm going to add more stuffing right here. So, taking a little bit at a time. And I kind of start to just stuff in there. Of course, you can also use that little wooden stick that it comes with. And I like to make the head pretty stuffed. Make it nice and firm. And I kind of make sure I put it all around. And you're going to have one more row after this, so you could make it almost completely stuffed, but not enough to get in your way. Now this one, you're just going to do the 6 single crochet. No decrease, no increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. Oh, what is that? That looks like a weird factory knot. I kind of undid my 6 stitch, so 6, and then I'm gonna slip stitch it closed. Pretty much what this is gonna act as is where we're gonna sew it into the body. See, like that. And now I'm gonna add the final stuffing. Let's make this nice and firm. And the neck doesn't need to be stuffed, it's just the head. Because you see this right here, this row we just did is pretty much neck. I think that is really stuffed. And then now you're just gonna close it up with slip stitches. So kind of what we did with the fins earlier, you go through both sides and you just slip stitch it. I'm gonna get a total of 3 slip stitches to make it nice and even. Just like that. And then now you could finish it off. Cut in your yarn. It's so hard to cut with these things, oh my god. There you go. And this Chanel yarn just loves to shed, as you can tell. Look at that. This is the head, so once we work it into the shell, this is where you're gonna stitch into. So here, I'll put the little fins around so you could kind of start getting an idea. I would say you're like halfway done at this point. Like, look how cute it's looking. So now let's work on the shell. And I like to use a different color for the shell. I'm gonna probably use a floral yarn. I want to see how that looks. But I'm not, feel free to go natural and go with like a brown or tan. I decided to use this really cool floral yarn because I think the green just matches and the pink is really cute. Okay, so let's see, maybe I'll get a center pull on this one. Not that's just, I hate when you get a center pull and it just barfs it all out. Yeah, this one I need a center pull. Okay, then where's the end? Oh my god. Lately on my Michaels yarn, the skeins are just so bad. I'll just take it off. Let's see where the end is. Okay, we found it. So remember, I just like to do the chain 2, and we're still doing the same thing of 6 single crochets. Into the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you're gonna do your increases all around. I'm gonna kind of fast forward for these parts because it's gonna get like a pretty long tutorial, and you should already know how to get up to the 24 stitches at this point because we did it in the tutorial earlier. So increase all around to get a total of 12. So that's 4, 6, and 12. Now do the pattern of, oops, I dropped something. The pattern of 1 single crochet and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to get to 18. Last stitch is 18. And then slip stitch it close. And then now I will do this one a bit slower because we haven't done it up to row 24 in a while because that's the first thing we did. So you want to do 2 single crochets. 1, 2, and then your increase. And you're going to repeat the pattern all the way around to get 24. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, keep on going. Okay. Now we're going to be doing something a little different than we've been doing earlier. We're going to go to 30. So that means you're going to do 3 single crochets. Oops, you can see the fin. And then an increase. It looks like this. 1, 2, 3. And then do an increase. And so that's 2 stitches in the same stitch. Alright, it's so hard to film with my yarn under me. And then do another one. 1, 2, 3. And now do your increase. I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, and then your increase. And now keep on going to get to the end of the row, and you will have 30 single crochets. Look at how cute our shell's looking. These look like little lemons, low key. Okay, so now for the next one, it's gonna be also a little different. You're gonna do 30 single crochets, but it's all in the front loop. So you see this, it's like you see this V, it's kind of hard to see with Chanel yarn, you put it in the front loop. Kind of like when you're doing decreases. So I'm going through and I'll single crochet. And go all the way around to do 30. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and keep on going, and 30, and then just finish off your row as you normally would, and there you go, you got the shell going on. And now you're going to want to go to your original color that you used for the fins. In my case, that was green. Okay, now so you could either put a stitch marker to make a really long loop like me. You're not going to use this color no more for the rest of the tutorial or project. Now what you're going to be doing, it's, you see how you can see the back loops that we just ignored in the last stitch right here? You're going to be working in those now with the color you used earlier. And you're going to be also doing 30 single crochets. So I'm just inserting in the back loop from the row previous. And I'm just looping in my yarn, pulling through my yarn, and doing a single chain, just like that. So now you're going to go all the way around and do 30 single crochets. So 1, remember all in the back loops, 2, 3, 4, and you know what, if it makes it easier, you could just cut the yarn so it's not in your way. I should have done that earlier. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's really important for this one that you do get all 30 single crochets. So if you're short a few, I would do some increases because it will make it a lot easier once we do the next row. So I just did my 30th stitch, so I'm pulling it through. And look how cute it is. As you can see, this is kind of how it's going to start looking because the shell's pretty much done. So now you could just finish off this part. You could sew this in later. And then now this is where it does get a little bit more tricky. So now that we did everything with 30 crochets, what we're going to do is start to sew in our pieces. I like to start with a fin, and you're going to repeat the pattern of 3 single crochet without sewing, and then 3 single crochet sewing in a body part, 3 single crochets not sewing anything, 3 crochet with a body part. So I'll show you what that looks like because it is pretty complicated. So I'm going to do my 3 without sewing anything in. 1, 2, 3. And now you're going to take your fin and you're going to sew it in. So you take the fin and you want to do 3 single crochet. It probably would have been easier if I sewed in that. So what that looks like is you put through as if you're gonna do single crochet, but you don't, because you have to put it through the fin now. So I like to do it on the right side, and then you're gonna pull through both, and then do your single crochet. And then you do your second one through the turtle shell, then through the middle of the fin at the top, pull through, and then do your single crochet, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pull through both, and then now you're going to want to do the left side. It could be really tricky, so just take your time with this one. Be gentle, you don't want to rip anything. And just like that. So now you saw we did 3 single crochet without doing the fin, and then 3 with the fin, and now we're going to do 3 without sewing anything in. So it looks like 1, 2, oh my god, I'm struggling. 2, 3, and you guessed it, now we're going to do another fin. It should be this one. Oops, almost forgot. Don't do that mistake. Always go through the shell first. And then we're going to remember the right side of the fin. Pull through both to do a single crochet. I promise this is the hardest part of the tutorial, but you can do it. Or you could just sew it in regularly if you can't figure this out. I just like to do this because it saves me a ton of time. So now we did our 3 single crochet with the fin. Now you're going to do 3 single crochets regularly. So that is 1, 2, 3. And now it's time for the head. For this one, I think I'm going to pull the tail in. Honestly, I should have did this to all the body parts at first. It would have made my life so much easier, but I didn't. I hope you did. I'll fix this later. I just need this part for you. So remember, shell first, and the head. And remember, we did 3 slip stitches earlier, so it should be a lot easier for this one. So I'm putting it through here, and I'm pulling through. It's 1. Now the middle of the head, or neck technically. And I pulled it through, and then now the last part. So right here. And then remember, now it's 3 regular single crochets. 1, 2, 3. So I hope you have it down now. It's the pattern of 3 alone, 3 sewing, 3 alone, 3 sewing, 3 alone, 3 sewing, 3 alone. And if you keep that pattern up, you will get a perfect 30 stitches and have everything sewed in. So skip to what we just did earlier. I mean, rewind if you're still confused to do the last 2 fins. So I just finished sewing everything in. So remember, it was 3 alone, 3 sew, 3 alone, 3 sew. And if you go all the way around, your last pattern of 3 will be sewing in the last fin. Because as you can see, now we're back to the beginning of the row, which is when we did our first 3 alone. So you can just slip stitch that right in there. I hope that wasn't too complicated. Like, I know it sounds really hard, but it's not. The hardest thing is just pulling through both the fin and shell. And yeah, it's going to be way easier from here on out. Now we're just going to be pretty much decreasing. So once you know this, you can pretty much do anything, okay? So now we have all this mess here with all these ends. So I'm going to sew these in. If you haven't, I recommend you do too. At least the fin part, because it will make the rest of this project easier. Okay, that looks way more organized. So now let's just go to where I just was. we're not doing any increases or decreases. You're just gonna go all around for 30 stitches. Okay, so for some reason my video is not loading of me saying the tips of how to actually do this row. So you also want to kind of keep up with the idea of 3 single crochets around each body part and the spaces in between. In this video, I did 4 single crochets before the fin and that threw me off, so I had to completely restart. So please still kind of keep the idea of having 3 single crochets when you get to a body part and 3 when you're not around it, and it'll make it a lot easier. And you don't really need to do exactly 30. If you're a little bit off, that's okay, because all we're going to be doing is decreasing from here on out. So your counts might be different than mine from the rest of the video, but your turtle should not look much different at the end. Once again, your last 3 stitches will be at the last fin, and then you can just stitch it closed. Now we're going to start decreasing. You're going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease, which will look like this. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease, remember, is the front loops. So 1, 2, now 3 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, decrease. So if you did perfectly the 30 stitches, you will be back to 24 single crochets when you finish this round. If not, that's okay, just still follow the pattern of 3 single crochets and a decrease. So now I'm on my last stitch, which is a decrease. Perfect. And now you're going to be doing 2 single crochets and then a decrease. So I'll show you what that looks like. 1, 2, and then the decrease. Do it one more time. 1, 2, 2, and then the decrease. And you're gonna go all the way around until you get to 18. Okay, you're almost done. You're on the last row now. You're gonna be doing one single crochet with 1 decrease right after. So 1 single crochet and then do your decrease. 1 single crochet, then do your decrease, and you will get a total of 12 stitches now. And after that, you can begin to stuff. So I just finished the last row, and now I'm gonna add all my stuffing. Just gonna make it nice and firm, like the head. And I've done this whole tutorial in one sitting, so you know my hands are feeling it right now. But I just really wanted to get this out there for you guys. So I kind of just move it around. I think I want a little bit more. And then, you know, you can always just see how it looks, see if you're liking it. Yeah, I like that. So you're gonna want to cut a pretty big tail, especially because if you work with this chenille yarn, it does like to snap. And I'm just gonna finish it off. Okay, now you want to use your threading needle. If you have one, makes your life a whole lot easier. If you don't, you could also just use your hook. And you're gonna weave it in close. So if you don't know what that looks like, you go through the front loops. So you're gonna go out through this one, which means the next one you're gonna go in. And you just keep following that pattern, just like that. So out, in, front loop only, so whatever's at the top. You don't go through both. And I like to slowly start pulling it in so it doesn't snap when I do it later. Keep on going. This is always such a satisfying part for me. Slowly pull it in. And it basically that is it. And look, now you're just gonna want to tie your knot. I like to double knot. This is also where you gotta be really careful that your yarn does not snap. And then you're just gonna sew this tail in. Oops, you see it already wanted to get really messed up. And as you mess with it, it gets a little bit less stiff. And this is how it is. I'm just gonna add in my safety eyes and finish weaving in all my ends, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. This is a finished product. I like to use bigger safety eyes personally. I just think it looks a lot cuter that way, and I'm loving this color combo. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to tag me on Instagram so I can see your creation. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.